Hello, movie lovers. Welcome to Does It Hold Up? I'm Adam, and here on this series, we go into the past to Oscars of years gone by to decide if they got it right when they were handing out the awards. We've already done the years 2000, 2001, 2002, so this week we are doing 2003. Join us as we take a trip into the past. With me, as always, is the disembodied voice, Emily, who will be reading out all of the categories and who the Oscars picked as their winner before I let you know if they were right or if I'm going to make a change. So, Emily?
Hello.
You ready to get started?
Of course I am.
Let's do it.
We are starting with the women this week and going for actress in a supporting role. The nominees this year were Kathy Bates from About Schmidt, Julianne Moore, The Hours, Queen Latifah, Chicago, Meryl Streep, Adaptation, and Catherine Zeta-Jones for Chicago. The winner, Catherine Zeta-Jones from Chicago.
We're starting off with a good category here because I actually think the Oscars did get this right. It was a stacked category. Every single one of these performances are top-notch. They're top tier. But at the end of the day, there was something special about what Catherine Zeta-Jones did in Chicago, where she held your attention for 2 hours that maybe somebody with a little bit lesser talent probably couldn't have. So I do think the Oscars, the Academy, got this one right. Catherine Zeta-Jones for Chicago, Best Supporting Actress. There you go.
Moving on to actor in a supporting role, the nominees were Chris Cooper for Adaptation, Ed Harris, The Hours, Paul Newman, Road to Perdition, John C. Reilly from Chicago, and Christopher Walken for Catch Me If You Can. The winner that year, Chris Cooper for Adaptation.
I originally had a different choice. I am taking it away from Chris Cooper. He's fantastic in Adaptation, but I do think somebody else on this list maybe deserves it slightly more. So I'm going a little weird here. Originally, I had picked Ed Harris from The Hours because I think he's phenomenal in that movie. But I made another change. I'm going to go with John C. Reilly in Chicago. Nobody knew really who this man was, and you really only knew him as a comedic actor. He really shows here that he's much more than that. He's deep and actually can get into a really interesting character. He probably does the best work out of all of these performances, so John C. Reilly from Chicago is getting this award.
Next is actress in a leading role. The nominees were Salma Hayek, Frida, Nicole Kidman, The Hours, Diane Lane, Unfaithful, Julianne Moore, Far From Heaven, Renee Zellweger from Chicago. And the winner, Nicole Kidman, The Hours.
I love me some Nicole Kidman. I think she's amazing in pretty much everything that she's ever done. I think she's a classy woman. She's a class act. Everything about her just screams that she should win this award, and I'm pretty sure that's why she got it. But I'm going to make a slight change here because I actually think Diane Lane in Unfaithful gave one of the best performances of her entire career. Is this a great movie? Not really. Is it a movie that's really remembered? No, not really. But is Diane Lane absolutely phenomenal in this movie and acting circles around everybody else on screen with her? Yes. Therefore, I'm taking away the award from Nicole Kidman and I'm giving it to Diane Lane for Unfaithful.
Actor in a leading role. The nominees this year were Adrien Brody, The Pianist, Nicolas Cage, Adaptation, Michael Caine, The Quiet American, Daniel Day-Lewis, Gangs of New York, and Jack Nicholson for About Schmidt. The winner, Adrien Brody, The Pianist.
Adrien Brody's fantastic in this movie. He's like phenomenal. But he's not the best performance of the year. The best performance out of these 5 were? The best performance out of these 5 nominees was Nicolas Cage in Adaptation. He really showcases that by this point in time, we had all come to realize that Nick Cage is kind of the Nick Cage. It's basically become a verb at this point. He does the overacting, the big facial movements, and here in Adaptation, he does a little bit of that, but he really grounds this character a little bit more and reminds everybody why he was recognized as one of the greatest actors of his time. And so, therefore, I'm taking it away from Adrien Brody, who I think is a very close runner-up. It's a 1A to 1B type situation here, but I am giving it to Nick Cage for adaptation.
Moving on to writing adapted, the nominees were About a Boy, Adaptation, Chicago, The Hours, and The Pianist. The winner, The Pianist.
Pianist. Good movie. Weird movie, but a good movie. Great performances, great everything across the board. Even the director, who we will not really speak of, did a great job with this movie. But I don't think it's the best script out there. In fact, in this category, I'm going to give it to About a Boy, because this is such a wonderful story that's written perfectly. I think the performances really elevate the material, but without that starting material, you have nothing here. It doesn't matter how good the performances are. If you don't have a great script for them to work off of, you're gonna get mediocrity. But About a Boy is so much more than that, and it all started with the script. So I'm taking it away from The Pianist, and I'm giving writing adapted to About a Boy.
Writing original, the nominees were Far From Heaven, Gangs of New York, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, Talk to Her, and Y Tu Mama Tambien. The winner, Talk to Her.
Talk to Her is a great movie, by all accounts. It really is. Top to bottom, there's some great stuff about this movie, but I'm gonna give it to something that's a little bit different, that I don't think gets as much love from the Academy, and really from a lot of people as it should. And that's the rom-com rom-com category, which is my favorite genre of film. When you make a really good rom-com, I am always on board for it. Even some of the mediocre ones tend to be really good as well. So I think My Big Fat Greek Wedding might be the best written movie of the year in any category, really, because it is just witty, it is sharp, it is quick, and it's just so relatable. So I'm taking it away, unfortunately, because I do love this movie, from Talk to Her, and I'm giving it to My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Moving on to Best Directing. The nominees were Pedro Almodovar for Talk to Her, Stephen Daldry, The Hours, Rob Marshall, Chicago, Roman Polanski, The Pianist, and Martin Scorsese, Gangs of New York. The winner, Roman Polanski, The Pianist.
Sure, Roman Polanski made a good movie, but I'm going to take the award away from him. I really wanted to give it to Martin Scorsese here because I think Gangs of New York is a severely underrated movie, but I also don't think it should be the movie that he wins his first Oscar for. So I couldn't quite go there, but there was one other movie that I think was just top to bottom directed to the highest level, and that is Chicago. Rob Marshall. He made a semi-interesting plot with a semi-interesting script, and he was working with great talent that put them up to a whole nother level. And it started here with Rob Marshall. He had a great vision for this musical, and musicals are a hard sell, and yet everybody absolutely loved Chicago. And it's because Rob Marshall did such a good job with this one. So I'm taking it away from Roman Polanski, and I'm giving it to Rob Marshall for Chicago.
Best Animated Picture. The nominees this year were Ice Age, Lilo and Stitch, Spirited Away, Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, and Treasure Planet. The winner, Spirited Away.
The first year that we got 5 nominees in this category, which is exactly what we'd get every year pretty much going forward from here. And this is a really good start because the Academy got this one right 100%. I really wanted to give it to Lilo and Stitch, which is one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. And in any other year, it's going to win this award. But you cannot take anything away from the beauty and majesty of Spirited Away. Miyazaki did such a good job with this movie that I just showed it to Emily for the first time this year in 2024, and she immediately fell in love with it. It has that long-lasting effect because it is just so perfect. So Academy got it right. It is Spirited Away, Best Animated Feature.
And our final award of the evening, as always, is Best Picture. The nominees were Chicago, Gangs of New York, The Hours, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and The Pianist. The winner, Chicago.
Originally, I wanted to give this award to Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers because it's my favorite Lord of the Rings movie. I understand Return of the King is great, Fellowship is good, but Two Towers is just phenomenal, top to bottom. But it's really hard to give this award to a middle movie because without the one before it, it's not that great. Without the one after it, it doesn't get elevated. So the story's really unfinished here in The Two Towers. So I can't give it to that. In fact, when I'm making the slides that you're looking at where I pick my winner, I originally made it with Lord of the Rings in my winner spot. But I'm changing it right here, right now, and I'm gonna give it to Chicago. I'm gonna keep it with Chicago because so many great performances, a great script, directing. I already gave it to Rob Marshall for this movie. This is a movie that on paper sounds okay. And in the wrong hands, with the wrong actors, it turns into 2019's Cats. An absolute disaster of a movie. But because all the pieces just came together in the right way, I have to give it to Chicago. Because this movie, by all accounts, should not have worked. And yet it was amazing. So, great job, Academy. I agree, you got this one right as well. All right, that's it for all the categories we do here on the show. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with any of the picks that I made. Would you have picked something else, even if it wasn't nominated? Because if I could have went with my heart, I actually would have went with Spider-Man as the best movie of the year, best Oscar winner, because I just gave it all the awards. It's my favorite movie from the year. Huge Spider-Man fan. So let me know in the comments below if you would have changed anything. I'll be back again on Tuesday with a box office roundup that we do every single week. Back again next Friday with the next episode of Reworking the Oscars. So subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff so the algorithm knows to show you what we put out every single day. And until I see you next time, just remember to be good to yourself, be kind to others, and keep watching movies.